This business is like the Wild West. Gold, silver, rare coins, lost treasures of history. You never know what's gonna walk through that door. These are coins from North Korea. I'll probably double my money. Watch this. I'm Evan Kale, and this is Pawn Man. Guys, we have a great Pawn Man in store, but before we get into it, I sincerely want to thank the episode sponsor, once again, Local Coin Company. You guys be sure to follow Local Coin Company, aka Bullion Daddy, on social media, on Instagram. Check out their Whatnot auctions. There's a link in the video description below. I myself am a seller on Whatnot, but Local Coin Company, their giveaways are a lot better. Holy crap. Ian gave away $4,000 in cash as a giveaway. And that wasn't even the only giveaway he did of the show. So please check out Local Coin Company on Whatnot. Follow them on social media. They're also here on YouTube. And just know that I'm going to be launching a podcast very soon with Local Coin Company. Be sure to give them your support along with me. And with that, you guys, let's get into the episode. Starting out, so did these come from storage lockers?
These have, yep. Everything here is storage lockers. She spent $26,000 on storage units paying for this for a long time, and it was just full of vintage collectibles, a huge comic book collection.
Oh, is this just, is there anything in here? Is this a wallet?
Nope, it's just a wallet.
Okay. I mean, roughly, what do you want on these?
I don't know, like 20 bucks.
Okay, fine. Ooh, a Confederate flag. Oh boy. It's about heritage.
So this is a 96th Infantry Division signed by the members.
Yeah, from World War II?
Yep, and this is his discharge papers.
Wow. I might want to keep this and frame it.
I looked far and wide. All I can find is PDFs of this, obviously not signed.
Yeah, there's old Patton. Here, he was a dick. How much do you want for this?
For the bundle of the Army stuff here, I was hoping to get like $100 for it.
I will do that. I'm going to frame this one.
So these, I don't know if you have any use for these. There's a slight following for them, but...
What are these?
They're story records, so basically there's a record in the back of that will kind of read that to you.
How much on this?
I was going to throw it in with your little Army bundle for $100.
Okay, cool.
All right, and this just because I love your smashing videos.
Oh, perfect. I haven't done one in a while. Awesome. 4 ounces of silver, $100. Cool.
Maybe for your Whatnot, I just thought this was comical racism in Florida.
I'm actually covering Black, what do they call it, Africana?
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
No.
Oh my God.
Bad.
The Dark Continent.
That's Busch Gardens in Florida.
Jesus Christ.
It's a theme park that people used to go to.
This was a theme park?
It's Busch Gardens in Florida. In the messed up part, look at the year at that. 1976, they were still doing that.
Well, that part doesn't surprise me as much. Holy shit, that's really bad. Oh, how much do you want?
Well, that was Florida's racism. Here's Minnesota's racism.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
Used to give this out to the kids. The more you read, the worse it gets.
I'm not saying anything because anything that comes out of my mouth is going to get me canceled. I can't form this into a joke. So how much you want?
Could you do 20 for the unit? This is just basically an adult magazine.
Escapade. Is there any nudity? Oh, there is nudity.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a market for that kind of stuff.
I have a hard time selling this. eBay, somebody hired Nancy Reagan over at eBay and they started calling Playboy pornography and I got in a ton of trouble.
Okay.
How much do you want for it?
$5.
Okay, as I say, you're only $5. I'll do $5. It's vintage and fun.
Little Nazi coin for you.
Oh boy, take an extra 10% off when you say Sieg Heil at checkout.
I don't think I'm going to sell these yet today, but I just wanted you to see. So these are the quartet cards. So this is a full collection of the children's game.
Boy, may I start with the
I'm around $2,000. It's a children's collector's game. You collect all the cards.
Come on, kids.
And
collect them all.
It teaches children's youth that Nazis and Hitler were friends. So there's pictures of the sergeants, the officers, Hitler with animals, Hitler playing games. It's terrible.
These fucking monsters. Oh my God. Oh, I'm gonna grab some gloves. I don't want to touch this without gloves. Okay, so let's look at these lovely Nazi trading cards. Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, there's like a bitch in that.
From what I've researched on these, I've never seen a full set.
This is the full set?
I believe so.
The game, produced in 1935, features 60 cards showing images of Hitler and other high-ranking Nazi functionaries. After the cards have been shuffled and dealt, the aim of the game was to assemble each of the quartets. Let me see if there's 60 in here. I don't know if I saw 60. 53, 54, so it's missing 6. I'd probably do 2,000 on that. Looks like estimates low end $50 a card, high end 100. But yeah, you don't have to sell it today. If you decide you do want to sell, let me know.
Yeah, you're definitely my first to go to.
You got anything else?
Just these, but I figured you just have them, put them in your whatnot.
Oh, cool.
Just local Girl Scout stuff.
Yeah, well, I can give these to the con artist. His are probably all covered in blood and cum. We had $670. I'm gonna give you a check for $1,000 because of I got $1,800 on or $1,700 on the Order of Lenin. eBay fees, it was like $1,400. So I mean, I paid for the whole deal and some. I never do that. But the fact is I did so well on that and I want this guy to keep coming back because this is incredible. So I'm gonna give him more money. Here you go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Do you want a receipt?
No.
Okay, so I ended up paying him $1,000. Even if I had paid $1,000 for this stuff, I'd break even. I think there's some really good stuff here, and I want to establish a great relationship with him because the treasures that he is coming across are nuts. All right, so I did some digging. I did figure out what this thing is, and I'm actually holding it upside down. That's how it's supposed to be held. This is pretty interesting. Let's talk about what this is. This is a National Socialist Frauenschaft medal. This is the National Socialist Women's League. So founded in 1931, October, 2 years or so before Hitler came to power. There were a bunch of smaller National Socialist women's group movements in Germany, and they formed a big one. They all kind of came together, and Hitler handpicked this bitch, Gertrude Schutzklink. German to me, it just all sounds like a barking dog. Arf, 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 even the names. Anyway, so Gertrude, Queen Nazi, shall we call her, it was her job to drill in the Aryan mindset of what women are supposed to do, which basically is just be a good homemaker and have as many fucking babies as possible to replace all the people that they kill in the Great War that they're gonna have. Gertrude is picked and touted what she called the 3 Ks. Kinder, Kuch, Kirch, if I'm saying that right. Children, kitchen, church. Now, the church part is pretty interesting because the Nazis did not want much to do with the idea of Jesus. Hitler was Jesus. It was a cult for Hitler. But that was, you know, that's what they called it as part of the 3Ks. So basically just having kids and being a good homemaker. And that's what this league was all about. Now, after the war, Gertrude and her husband fled the Battle of Berlin. They were arrested by the Soviets. They were briefly detained in a Soviet prison camp. They somehow got out. It's actually kind of an interesting story how they got out. I'm not going to get into it. She was on the lam for 3 years, and then the French caught up with her and arrested her, and they gave her a short prison sentence, but then they're like, oh, wait a minute. We recognize this bitch. They called her a main culprit, and they gave her a 30-month prison sentence. She got out in 1953. She was banned for 10 years from teaching, civic service, journalism. She basically had to have a muzzle on her for 10 years and like not have any part of society around her. In the 1970s, she wrote a book, Women of the Third Reich, and basically it was an unrepenting book. This lady was never sorry. She was a terrible person. She died in 99. Now my Jew ass gets to rub my grubby little impure mitts all over her Nazi lady medal and call her an ugly bitch. So that is what this is. This thing's worth, about $7,500. I'm gonna put it on my website. By the time you guys are watching this, I probably sold this, but it took me a while to look up. So I have a item that was actually advertised to me several years ago when I worked for the old man, and I kind of didn't know what I was doing, and like literally anything you showed the old man, he was never excited about. I never saw him get excited about something, ever. So this is a vintage trunk, like a travel trunk from probably the 1920s. The customer's father was in World War II. He arrived in Japan right when they surrendered, like 2 days after the surrender. And then he was stationed over in Shanghai a little bit after. So he picked this up probably about late 1945, early 1946, somewhere in there. But let's take a look at it because it's really cool and I know what I'm doing a little bit more now. So this is it. Beautiful probably handcrafted or a lot of like hand technique. We thought it was pig skin. We actually had just randomly, there's another antique expert that was in here and he offered his opinion. He thought it might've been goat skin because they would just take whatever they had in front of them to make this. Like I said, probably made in the 1920s. No precious metal, but a really nice artisan piece. And then there's a lot of original pieces in it that his father brought back, like Shanghai, China. This, I don't know what you call this. Kimono is definitely not the right word because that's a Japanese word and we're not gonna extrapolate on that. But he's got this vintage from 46 and then this is probably like all the currency from China. Like we got some military currency here. Obviously he was using this as a soldier. These are probably the most expensive pieces in here. These are probably $5-10 each. Some other little trinkets and items, but no, it's a nice travel trunk. It's pretty big. I would hate to have to lug all this all the way around the world, but let's just check out the design, kind of all over, very traditional Chinese design. Cool if it had dragons, but call me a dumb American. Where are the dragons? I like the dragons. So appraisal, what's it worth? Well, when I saw this a couple years ago, the old man told me $50, and I was like, oh God, you're such an asshole. Highest examples of these, some I saw upwards of 2,000. Here's an estimate, 800 to 1,200, probably 500 to 1,000 bucks. But it's a really nice piece, and I love when people bring in cool stuff here. And we love history on this page. Got a special delivery coming in from Chase Rare Coins on Instagram. Give him a follow. So I bought some rare coins. It's a great way to open a rare coin. From Chase Rare Coins. Very good tone coins. As you guys know, I am a huge fan of tone coins. Holy shit. Holy shit. Look at that thing. Sometimes when you buy tone coins, somebody's f***ing with the light. And it's like, yeah, it is tone like it was in the pictures, but you got it at the perfect angle. It's not false advertisement. It's just not as good as it looked in pictures. This is better than it looked in pictures, this first one. Holy shit. Look at this. All right, so we have, how many did I buy? I bought 3 coins. I spent $150, I think, $500, something like that. So here's the first one. Now the date ain't shit, the grade ain't shit, but the toning is why I bought it. The reverse on this one, totally clean. So what happened was, if you've never seen my show before, you just don't know. You say, well, how did that happen? This was probably sitting in a treasury vault and the bag, there were other coins over it and the bag touched it like that and like that. So this is the chemicals from the bag impressing on it for a very long time, decades and decades. Better example of what I'm describing is this right here. You can see the shape of the coin that impressed upon it, 1881p. And then the reverse has some toning here too. I don't like this one quite as much. Now, some purists would say this is damaging a coin. I think they're wrong, because this is a chemical reaction taking place on the coin. You could argue that it's corrosive, but yeah, I say some, not I. And then here's the last one. This one was the most, I think this was the most expensive. I remember as a kid, my dad showing me ungraded Morgans from Treasury Vault bags that made this thing look like it had no toning. Like just the most crazy, oh, here we go. Yeah, see, here's a coin sitting on top of it. You can see where the rim of the coin touched. But like toning way more exotic than this. Coins that today would be worth tens of thousands of dollars. In the 90s, he was showing me these coins. But these were always my favorite when they had this kind of color, and I never understood, because I was like 5, how this happened. So I paid like $5.50 for these coins. I might get like $7.50 on these coins. This one I'm gonna keep for my showcase for sure. This one I'll probably keep, although this one's the most expensive. This one I am planning on selling because I'm not as impressed with the toning on this one, but still. This one's a real beauty. I'll have to make a TikTok before I do really quick. I'll show you guys something. We were talking about this with the art episode. I just kind of want to double down because I have another example in front of me. Did a deal this morning with a lady. It was a lady who sold me you guys remember all the vintage maps that I bought? So that lady came back today and she had a 1916 map of Iowa. This is worth probably about $100. So I bought this from her. I listed this already because it was in front of me. Lady also had this. This is a numbered etching of a cathedral. And I was actually able to find it. So I found an old auction that had it. It went for 300 euros. Now this one obviously is in much better shape. This one, what's this one worth? Well, unfortunately, condition. This water stain just f***ing destroys the value on this. Now this could be restored. You could pay somebody to fix this. It'd be really expensive to do. So this sold for 300 euros. What's this one worth? Probably just like 20 to 30%, I would think. Like something like that on art, it really f***s it up. I paid $100 for the pair. I threw this on eBay for $195. Like I said, numbered. This artist is fairly well known, but I'll take, if somebody offers me $100, I'll take it, meaning I own that for free. Once again, you guys, I sincerely want to thank our episode sponsor, Local Coin Company. You guys, be sure you follow them on Whatnot and on social media. Their Whatnot auctions are going on every week, and they're a lot of fun. Their giveaways are incredible, probably the highest tier of anyone doing giveaways on Whatnot. So be sure you follow Local Coin Company on Whatnot, check them out on social media. And with that, you guys, we have a very controversial topic this week. And it was something I thought, do I even want to do this? And the fact is, if I don't do this, it's allowing cancel culture to win. And it's omitting history. It's omitting Black history. It's omitting something that's very important, and not just in the field of collectibles, but in the scheme of history. And unfortunately, what we're talking about this week is hideously racist. So when I was in New Orleans, you guys, I was in this antique shop and they had some very interesting stuff. And I noticed they had a whole bunch of these. Now, this is what is known as Black Americana. The ones that I have here, I spent, oh my God, I bet I spent $500-600 on this stuff. Because I knew I wanted to cover this, and it's easier to find in the South than it is in the North here, like in Minnesota. I don't see this kind of stuff too often in antique shops. See, again, like I said, it's a very controversial topic. I don't know if I would carry this in my store, but I got Nazi sitting right there, so why wouldn't I? So let's talk about this, what it is, why it's collectible, and why, I want to feature it here on Pawn Man. A good way to think of this field as a whole, Black Americana, is kind of like murderabilia, and really the controversy is kind of what drives up the price. Really what drives up the price is the history. Simple as that. But with Black Americana, with these objects, there are caricatures of Black people. They are hideously racist, dramatic caricatures of Black people. It's meant to provoke. It is is meant to make you think something racist, even if is just overturns or just subtle little things in something like this. And the more racist it is, the more expensive it gets. Now, another problem with my white ass covering the subject is simply describing what some of these are. The words that are used to describe the noun, what it is, the actual name of it. It's things that I can't say. There's some really racist terms just in this field in describing what it is. One term that is used in some of these items, and again, I'm not gonna say the full term, but monkey. I don't wanna say it. And I'm very uncomfortable with the subject, but I can't omit the subject as a whole because it is interesting and this field is A, expensive, and again, B, just historically important. Just like another term for Black Americana is blackface collectibles. And this is a field, the items in it can extend, they're not just porcelain figures like this. It extends everything from photography to costumes, to statues, to miniatures, to political memorabilia, and just items themselves, historical items, all part of this giant field. And they don't just have to be older antiques to qualify. This pamphlet of this racist theme park that was in the 1970s that I bought earlier in that deal, this counts. And this stuff is collectible. Like I said, I paid $20. Now, why would anybody want to collect this? Who collects this stuff? It's not people that look like Colonel Sanders, sitting on their porch, sipping a mint julep, throwing the N-word around like it's... No, believe it or not, Black people are some of the largest collectors of this stuff. And frankly, in my opinion, they're the only people that should be buying it. Neither here nor there. I don't think as a white person you should be buying this stuff. And it is not something that looks good if you own it. If, like I said, I would be very uncomfortable putting this out on a shelf here, putting this anywhere. Because of my ethnicity, I don't feel it's appropriate for me to be displaying it. Now, I'll still sell it, and I'm not going to omit selling it, but I have more business selling Nazi shit, and we'll talk about this at the end, than I do selling this stuff. This figure right here, I forget what exactly I paid. I want to say it was like $150 for this. This one here was almost $100. So this field can get very expensive. Now, with this, there are kind of two main schools of thought, at least from the perspective of an antiques dealer, and well, why would anybody want this? One school is quite positive. It is, this preserves history. This preserves the racism, and it showcases it. It showcases what Black people had to deal with, where they've come from, their plights, their struggles, all encapsulated in these little objects like this. You look at this and you'll never forget. Like they say about the Holocaust, never forget. Imagine if they had Holocaust figurines. My God, I can't believe I just said that, but really the analogy serves. These are reminders to the Black community about the injustices that they have faced for centuries, that they continue to face. And it tells the story, the overall story of the Black community's strife and their perseverance throughout the centuries as they have been persecuted as horribly as they have been. The other school of thought is the complete opposite of that. The other school of thought says I should smash these right now, that we should cancel culture this stuff, throw it away, move on, forget about the past, move forward with the future. I personally think that is so harmful. Regardless of which of these two schools of thought you find yourself in, it's a very uncomfortable subject no matter what. But the fact is, history is uncomfortable. People get mad at me all the time for selling racist items, and it's like, anything that walks through that door, within 3 degrees of separation, I can make a racist. I can somehow in my head link it to something really racist. So what am I supposed to do? Not be an antiques dealer? Not be a coin dealer? Just cancel myself out of a job? And like, well, what? It's silly. It's stupid. My favorite example is, okay, so, we say, well, what about coins? We just don't sell Nazi coins. Okay, I'm supposed to stop selling FDR dimes? FDR? Yeah, the guy with the internment camps. That guy. What, am I supposed to just not sell FDR dimes because of that? No, that's crazy. So where exactly did all this come from? Well, I couldn't find an exact date, but roughly it started getting very popular with Reconstruction after the Civil War, early 1900s, especially as you have Jim Crow rearing its ugly head here in the United States. The South, they've lost the Civil War, and yet they're still so hell-bent and latching onto these viewpoints, and there's just a culture clash between Black and white, and it's not just in the South, it's all throughout the country. The nation is grappling at odds with what to do with Black people. How do we integrate them? Do we integrate them? We talked about the Liberian history. Stuff like that was the attitude of the country, and you kind of see it being expressed through these objects too. Now, these are not made by white people. Actually, oftentimes these are made by Black people, again, to showcase and preserve the history of just all that they've been through, all the terrible that has been created about their race from the perspective of whites, or I should just say non-Blacks. So I will say this is an area where it's actually on the more expensive end. If you do want to start collecting this, if this is something that you're interested in, if you're simply interested in this for a historical perspective, there's, I'm not shaming anyone who is. If that's it and you're not cracking jokes looking at the stuff, then good. I'm glad somebody appreciates it. That's what it's here for. It's just, when what you might imagine a white person like me buys something like this for, when it's actually that's where you have a problem. But that said, it's far and few between. There are not that many white people that collect this kind of stuff for malicious reasons. In fact, it is mostly black people, like I said, who collect this stuff. And something like this, where it's a vintage brochure that is, has racist caricatures on it. And there's nothing even bad happening here. It's just kind of racist looking at it because you have these exaggerated lips. It's a cartoon. It's a racist cartoon. This, I think, was $10, $15 at the same New Orleans antique shop. So like, even your cheap stuff, you're spending 10, 15, 20 bucks. But once you get into the porcelain realm, low end 50, they could be hundreds to thousands. The most expensive stuff in this arena is going to be stuff directly tied to either athletes, civil rights leaders, politicians, things that are actually holding hands with the history directly, not something that's indirect. Slavery artifacts can sell for thousands of dollars. So my rule is, if it has to do directly with genocide, like example, Auschwitz prisoner garb, chains from the actual slave trade, that I wouldn't buy. But actual slavery artifacts, chains, clothes, that kind of stuff, they're very expensive, and they belong in museums. You shouldn't own those for any reason, I don't think. There are also very well-known established artists that have made a career only making this kind of stuff, and the well-known artists, their pieces can sell for tens of thousands. Some names include Jean-Michel Basquiat, if I'm saying that right. There's another artist named Steve, and he made these things called Gollywog dolls, and they're terrible. They can go for more than 10 grand. Another one, and actually recently with what happened with Aunt Jemima getting canceled, God, good riddance. There are these things called, and what do you want me to do? I'm on here to educate. I gotta say the name of it. I'm not saying the N-word. They're called mammy jars, and they, again, can be thousands to tens of thousands. Another niche, and actually, I have one here. And I didn't realize just how collectible and expensive it is, because I got it over a year ago from another dealer I work with. He's like, hey, I know you like this historical stuff. So there is what was known as the Negro League in baseball. And there's a lot of memorabilia for this league. This was basically the Black Baseball League. So I don't think that's an original photo. I think it's a copy, but this is the first World Series for the Black Baseball League. And something like this is very collectible. I've had some offers on this. I don't want to sell this. Like it is the wrong term, but it preserves history. And opening game, it says first colored World Series, Kansas City, Missouri, October 11th, 1924. If this was original, this would be really expensive. But stuff from this league is very, very expensive. The most expensive thing I could find. Jackie Robinson didn't play in this league, but they made a card for him, and $392,000 was the auction price I found. Now, I will say, as far as academics who are experts in this field, the resources that I've found, pretty much everybody who was in the school thought that the stuff does need to be preserved for the education that it teaches us. David Pilgrim, the founder of a Jim Crow museum, was quoted saying, use items of intolerance to teach tolerance. And so that's why I gotta cover this, and I want to talk about it. And it is important that we understand this when you go to an antique shop and you see them. Don't jump to a conclusion that, the antique shop owner must be racist. No, they simply have an item of the past, and it is important to discuss it, to talk about it, to acknowledge it, and understand it. Interestingly, you guys want to know who has one of the largest collections of this stuff on the planet? Whoopi Goldberg. Like I said, most black people are the people that are buying and collecting this stuff. And if, again, you're still scratching your heads, you guys, it is the exact same reason why I am a amateur Third Reich historian, why I sell Nazi, why I always like to talk about it. It's not because I like the Nazis or I like their ideologies or I'm a fascist or something like that. It is because the context is so important. The discourse is so important to understand and discuss and preserve so that we can learn. Because as long as we're learning from the past, then that's how we go about not repeating it and repeating our same mistakes. Because we as humans are really good at doing that, and it really sucks. I wish we'd stop. So that, in a nutshell, viewers, is what these are. Black Americana. These are links to the past, and they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're teaching devices. I'm just not going to display them. All right, guys. Well, just like that, it is the end of the day and the end of the episode. Once again, I sincerely want to thank the episode sponsor, Local Coin Company. Check them out on Whatnot. You guys follow them on social media. There's a link in the video description below. You can also watch my auctions as well as theirs. They're a ton of fun. Local Coin Company and I are hosting auctions on Whatnot every single week, so be sure you check that out. And with that, you guys, if you like this video, be sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the notification button so you guys know new episodes of Pawn Man are coming out. If you guys like what I do here, please consider becoming a Pawn Man Patreon. Every dollar I get goes toward improving the show. It really helps me a lot. Get my books on Amazon. Check out my website, pawnmanstore.com. Spread the gospel of Pawn Man. Share my videos online. And with that, you guys, I'll see you guys back here for another great episode of Pawn Man. Later, guys.